Hidden in the heart of southern Africa lies a mystery so powerful that for centuries the world refused to believe Africans built it. A stone city so vast, so sophisticated that it shattered colonial lies and shook global history. This was Great Zimbabwe, a metropolis of kings, a center of gold, a city of stone that rose from African hands and changed the world. And before we journey into this ancient African masterpiece, hit the subscribe button so you never miss powerful African stories like this one. In the 11th century, in the fertile lands of modern-day Zimbabwe, a new civilization began to rise. Its architects were the Shona people, brilliant farmers, skilled traders, and masterful stone builders. Their society was built upon the foundations of agriculture and cattle herding, a way of life that had sustained communities. In this region for generations, they understood the land, its seasons, and its resources with an intimacy that allowed them to flourish. Blacksmiths forged iron into strong tools and weapons, their rhythmic hammering a constant soundtrack to daily life, while potters shaped clay into vessels for storage and trade. From these scattered but organized settlements, a powerful idea began to take shape, a central capital that would reflect the growing prosperity and ambition of the Shona people. With nothing but granite and genius, the Shona built walls that would still stand 1,000 years later. There was no cement, no iron rods, just mathematics and mastery. Young masons, apprentices to a long line of builders, learned the art of dry stone construction. They carefully selected granite slabs, splitting them with precision using fire and water, and then shaping them into uniform blocks. They stacked these stones one by one, creating intricate, interlocking patterns that provided immense structural stability. These were not just functional barriers. They were works of art, flowing in elegant curves across the landscape. The rhythmic sound of hammers striking stone echoed through the valleys as the first foundations of a great city were laid. A testament to the Shona's engineering prowess and their deep connection to the very rock of their homeland. This was not a mere settlement. It was a kingdom ruled by powerful African monarchs whose wealth came from one thing: gold. The king, adorned in brilliant gold jewelry and draped in fine fabrics, sat upon a carved stone throne. His court was a vibrant spectacle of power and culture. Ostrich feather fans cooled the air as dancers moved to the complex rhythms of drummers, their music telling stories of history, mythology, and royal lineage. Courtiers, advisors, and foreign dignitaries gathered here, all drawn by the immense influence of the city's ruler. The king was more than a political leader. He was a spiritual figurehead, believed to have a direct connection to the ancestors, and his authority was absolute. His palace, perched high on the hill complex, was the nerve center of an empire that commanded respect across the continent and beyond. Gold from Great Zimbabwe flowed to the coastal city-states of Kilwa, Mogadishu, and Sofala, where it was loaded onto Arab dhows destined for distant lands. Caravans of black African traders, their journeys long and perilous, transported ivory, copper, and most importantly, gold from the interior to the bustling Swahili markets. From there, this African wealth sailed across the Indian Ocean, reaching Arabia, Persia, and even as far as China. Archaeologists have unearthed Chinese porcelain, Persian glassware, and Arabian beads within the ruins of Great Zimbabwe, tangible proof of its role as the beating heart of a global trade network. This city was not an isolated outpost. It was a crucial hub in a complex web of commerce that connected the heart of Africa to the wider world, bringing immense prosperity and prestige to its rulers. The Great Enclosure stands as the city's most breathtaking achievement, the largest ancient stone structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Its massive outer wall, over 250 meters in circumference and reaching heights of 11 meters, curves gracefully across the landscape. It was constructed with an estimated 1 million granite blocks, each one expertly shaped and laid without mortar. Walking alongside its towering, silent walls, one can feel the sheer scale of the labor and the brilliance of the design. This was not just a defensive structure. Its grandeur was a statement of power, a symbol of the king's ability to command immense resources and manpower. It was here within these walls that the city's elite likely resided, their lives unfolding in the shadow of this architectural marvel. To this day, the true meaning of the conical tower is still debated. This solid 10-meter high stone structure, built with the same meticulous craftsmanship as the surrounding walls, rises from within the great enclosure. Was it a granary, a symbolic representation of the king's duty to provide for his people and a display of his wealth in grain? Was it a royal shrine, a place for sacred rituals meant to ensure the fertility of the land and the prosperity of the kingdom? Or was it a phallic symbol, a potent emblem of the king's power and the continuity of his dynasty? The tower is undecorated, its purpose locked away by time, yet its silent, imposing presence continues to fuel speculation. Black African masons would have studied its form, perhaps embedding within it symbolic meanings related to cattle and ancestral rituals that we can now only guess at. Here on the fortified hilltop lived the Sacred Kings. The hill complex, the oldest part of the city, was both a royal palace and a spiritual sanctuary. Its labyrinthine passages, built among the natural granite boulders of the hill, created a formidable defensive stronghold. From this high vantage point, the king could survey his capital and the surrounding territories. This was where the most important spiritual ceremonies took place, where the king communicated with the spirits of his ancestors, seeking their guidance and blessings for the kingdom. The air here was thick with ritual and reverence. It was a place protected not just by stone, but by the ancestors, whose presence was felt in every carved monolith and every sacred enclosure, making it the spiritual and political heart of the empire. At its peak in the 14th century, Great Zimbabwe was home to over 20,000 Africans, a bustling city of prosperity and innovation. Life within its walls was a vibrant tapestry of activity. The valley below the hill complex teemed with the homes of the general populace, made from mud and thatch. Markets buzzed with energy. As traders bartered goods, their voices mingling with the clang of ironworkers forging tools and weapons in their workshops. The scent of cooking fires filled the air as women ground millet and prepared meals for their families. Children played games in the open spaces between the stone enclosures, their laughter echoing off the ancient walls. Hunters returned from the surrounding savannah, their skill providing vital sustenance for the thriving metropolis. This was a city alive, a center of culture, craft, and community. But around the 15th century, the city began to decline. Its great stone walls began to fall silent, and its bustling streets slowly emptied as its people migrated away. The reasons for its fall are still debated among historians. Some say a prolonged drought and climate change exhausted the region's resources, making it impossible to support such a large population. Some say overpopulation and overgrazing led to environmental degradation, forcing the people to seek more fertile lands. Others argue that the power simply shifted north as trade routes changed. And a new rival kingdom, Mutapa, rose to prominence, drawing wealth and influence away from Great Zimbabwe. Whatever the cause, the city that had once been the center of an empire was gradually abandoned, left to the winds and the passage of time. When Europeans first arrived in the region in the 1500s, they stumbled upon the magnificent ruins and could not believe that Africans had built this masterpiece. Portuguese traders and later British explorers and colonists were confronted with a level of architectural sophistication that completely contradicted their racist assumptions about the continent and its people. In their journals, they recorded their shock and awe, describing the massive stone walls and intricate construction. But this quickly turned to denial. The idea of a great African civilization, built by black hands, was a direct threat to the colonial narrative of a dark continent in need of European salvation. For centuries, they tried to erase the truth. Driven by colonial ideology, European settlers and amateur archaeologists concocted elaborate and racist theories to explain away the city's origins. They blamed Arab builders, Phoenicians, the Queen of Sheba, even aliens, anyone, as long as it wasn't black Africans. They systematically covered up or destroyed evidence that linked the city to the local Shona people, tearing out pages from historical accounts and in some cases burning artifacts that contradicted their false narratives. The colonial government of Rhodesia, named after the imperialist Cecil Rhodes, actively promoted these lies, using the supposed mystery of Great Zimbabwe as a tool to justify white minority rule and deny the indigenous population their own history and heritage. Then, in the 20th century, the truth could no longer be hidden. Rigorous, scientific archaeology finally put the colonial lies to rest. Pioneering archaeologists, including many African scholars, began to meticulously study the site. Radiocarbon dating confirmed that the city was built between the 11th and 15th centuries, long before widespread European contact. The artifacts unearthed pottery, iron tools, and spiritual figurines were unmistakably of Shona origin. Furthermore, the dry stone architectural style was found to be identical to that of hundreds of smaller surrounding settlements, known as Zimbabwe's, clearly showing a continuous local building tradition. The world finally accepted what the Shona had always known: Great Zimbabwe was built by Africans, the name of the modern nation. Zimbabwe, meaning House of Stone in the Shona language, was chosen upon its independence in 1980 as a direct tribute to this heritage. The iconic Zimbabwe bird, a carved soapstone figure found in the ruins, became the national emblem. Today, the ruins are a site of immense cultural pride, where Shona cultural celebrations and traditional dancers bring the silent stones back to life. It stands as a symbol of African power, a testament to a glorious past, and a source of inspiration for the future. Great Zimbabwe is an undeniable triumph of African intelligence and innovation. Great Zimbabwe is not just a ruin. It is a reminder that Africa was not waiting to be civilized. Africa was building, creating, and thriving long before outsiders arrived. It is a powerful rebuttal to centuries of colonial propaganda, a stone and mortar declaration of African genius that has withstood the ravages of time and the poison of prejudice. Its walls hold the memory of a great kingdom, a sophisticated society, and a people who were masters of their world. If you love history that tells the truth about Africa, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and share this documentary. This is African Stories with Drey, bringing Africa's greatness back to life.